Good morning. Excuse me. Good afternoon, good evening, my friends. Welcome to market here at SpartanTrading.com. It is Wednesday when we have opened our room up to the live YouTube stream. Welcome to those of you who are joining us through that. So many big puzzle pieces coming together and yet not coming together. Let's look at some of the macroeconomic stuff that happened overnight. We had the talking Fed heads, et cetera. Australia leading index was flat, which is not bad. This is the one, and here you have EU versus the UK. This is just stunningly complex. UK is in serious trouble here. The inflation rate was higher than expected, equal to the prior months, right? Well, that's year over year. And then month over month, 0.4 was 0.7. The core 0.6 versus 7.1. Now, this is the relief part of it, the PPI coming out, right? But irregardless, these are just not good numbers. So this is the problem with, well, I guess you would say stagflation at this point in time. California is, slowly reaching recession. And, California and Texas are the two major manufacturing states in the country, right? What goes on there is really important. So we got a lot of these things coming together. And this is way above my pay grade because I have no idea how this is going to play out. The positive side is with the PPI, better than expected, right? Retail sales better than expected, and yet you have this inflation rate that's so sticky. And this is why the hawkish tone that you continue to get out of the UK as well as Europe, Lagarde et al., this is what they're seeing, and this is what they're concerned about. Stagflation is just horrific for a central bank, as well as at an individual standpoint. It's just really, really complicated. 30-year bond came way down. Nice to see that. Industrial trends, as expected, right? And then we had some EU 3 and 6 month bill auctions, right? We got the mortgage back that came out, right? Applications continue to be very, very, very soft. Now, let's be honest here. And it's, South Beach mentioned this yesterday. The reality is, right, that when you've got a 2%, 3%, 2.5%, 3% 30-year mortgage on your books, how can you really move? Okay, if you have to swap up to a 6%, you might as well. Okay, this is the logic. You might as well do home improvements. Okay, Home Depot, Lowe's sort of thing, then move. I mean, it's just it's just really interesting status. Mexico, private spending better than expected, right? Aggregate demand a little bit softer there, and then aggregate demand year over year was better than expected. Okay, and you see here we have Powell speaking at 10 o'clock. I don't know seriously, what the hell could he tell us? I mean, that he hasn't already said. I mean, it's like whack-a-mole. Okay, which the hawkish Powell always seems to come out, but then you get the dovish Powell, but he always offsets that with the hawkishness. So who gives a damn, right? And then you've got all these Fed heads talking, I don't care. Bunch of more. Oh, I didn't see that side. All right, let's talk about FedEx. Wow, okay. Clearly we're seeing what's going on overseas, in terms of the results. So that's why FedEx was taken down more than UPS was taken down. Interesting, right? I don't know. We'll have to see how that plays out, right? I had some hedges on, and I trimmed back quite a bit of my FedEx, so nothing big going on there. But it's important. Transports are so important. We have to remember that. So Winnebago came out, right? And then let's see. And you can see here, surprise on the upside, downside, not so much. So they missed top, beat bottom, right? So, and then PDCO got a guidance higher. So this is going to be a really important earnings cycle because of this whole mantra of earnings recession into the end of the year. And, my narrative has been that for the most part, the earnings recession would have to come in from the large cap mega tech that have rallied all year, right? Because the others have already kind of taken it on the chin, toed feathered, as well as, all kinds of other good things. So this is the breadth rotation that allows it to happen, right? So just keep an eye on that stuff. Right? We live in wondrous times. All right, so sector and factor rotation, so you can see what's coming out, right? Net buying came into materials and utilities, and then you see here divvies down, growth up, liquidity up, size up, and volatility up. Okay, this is out of Goldman Sachs, right? So, and then you can see here consumer sentiment. Twitter Economic Sentiment Index. Now, this is kind of fascinating. And the reason why I say that is I actually think that this Goldman Sachs index is probably more important than University of Michigan, because University of Michigan consumer sentiment is a dinosaur. I mean, it's been around since, decades, right? And I think that the construct of doing something with Twitter is meaningful and makes sense to me, right? This is the 7-day average, and you can see how they have it much more robust than what you have there with the University of Michigan. So, we all have to evolve, right? What else have we got? Okay, and this is the average percentile of sentiment indicators. We do have an issue with the SPY, and you'll see that in a second in terms of all-time highs in one reading. So we have to look at that. Here's my gal Liz, right? So you can see here, home builders up, residential investment as percentage of GDP is down. Okay. And here you have Philly Fed and the big general business activity region diffusion index. Like I say, I only really care about what the San Fran and the Dallas Fed say in terms of their regions, in terms of manufacturing, et cetera. And it's been really soft to the point where you have to say, well, maybe we do get that recession that everybody's talking about. It's so complex, though. I mean, it's not linear. I think that's just the problem with a lot of talking heads, et cetera. They make it sound black and white and linear. It is so much gray, okay? Tutti frutti, all kinds of stuff. It is not black and white. None of what we're seeing right now is black and white. It's epic, historic. It's going to be written about. We've never seen all of these different scenarios coming together in one fell swoop. It's just remarkable what we're seeing right now. And the inversion to the extreme we're seeing it, right? There's so many things going on that literally you cannot be black and white in anything. All right, so here we go. This is the first time since February that equity funds have basically seen more money flows coming into them than bond funds. This is healthy, this is good. Okay, finally we have these people who are just, I don't know. This is what's wrong with these talking heads and quote unquote the smartest people in the room. They're not. Okay, we're all on equal footing instead. Okay, the construct that the Fed would cut twice in 2023 was ridiculous, and that was irresponsible and got people into settings that they should not have been in on the investment side, i.e. 60% bonds versus equity. That's unprecedented. That only happens when you're deep, deep into a recession. And there is nothing that's indicated because of the wage, the workforce growth. The hourly wages worked keeps coming down. It's not a 40-hour week. There's a gap of 6 hours there. Someone has to fill it. I just don't, like I said, I just don't understand some of this stuff sometimes. And I know I get excited, but that's irresponsible because none of these talking heads go out and tell you, except obviously if they're running a portfolio or something like that. But the vast majority don't tell you what their P&L looks like. There's no transparency, and yet people follow them like lemmings. You have a better chance. I'm encouraging you, all of you, do your homework, do your research. You can do better than these idiots, okay? All of them. You can do better. Just saying. And I hope, and you should. In this room, we have a community of really bright people. You can do better. IPO issuance, well, okay, I don't want to talk about that. Okay, China begins nationwide push. Yeah, good luck with that. That's so freaking ass ugly. That's a dirty little secret that's not going to come to the light of day. Right? Yeah, they're going to do that, but they're not going to tell you what's going on. You'll know what's going on based on what these provincial governments do. That's all I have to say. Okay, what really happened the night the nickel market broke? This is really something. You should read this. I mean, it's a great article, and it is important to understand the manipulation point on some of this stuff. Right? Says he met EU more in Doha. Okay. Doesn't that look like someone from the EU representation? I shouldn't say that. Sorry, my bad. Price of gold in Japan is nearing an all-time high. The Bank of Japan has fundamentally reshaped the Japanese financial system, turning it into a glass house. My friend, you're too young to know this has been going on since the 1990s. There's no question about that, okay? right? No question about that at all. No question about that, right? Canada's government should consider bringing back debt anchor. Well, I'm not talking about Canada right now. Okay. All right. To your note, yield 4% by end of November, according to a poll. And once again, where did they come up with this stuff? There's a problem with the front end, and the problem with the front end is the Fed is not going to cut rates. The only way that front end, the 2-year, comes down hard, okay, in terms of yield, is if we are in a mega deep recession, not a mild recession. That's not going to happen. It has to be a deep recession. I don't know. The statistical odds just aren't there right now. U.S. tracked Huawei and CTE workers that suspected Chinese spy sites. It's like I grew up in the Cold War. Okay. This feels so much like the 1960s. Just can't tell you. Just saying, so much. The more things change, the more they say the same. That's actually an anthropological tenet that I grew up on. The more things change, the more they stay the same. It said to our host, the guest, India's, I'm telling you, India, swooning. We're going to do a deep dive on Tesla today. This is the last time I'm probably going to be doing this, friends, in terms of these spreads, because this is going to fall more under the mentorship program as well as the my webinars and stuff like that. So this will be the last week I do these sort of spreads for you guys. Sorry, but this is good stuff, and I want to share that with people who sign up for my classes and stuff. U.S. stocks are beating their international counterparts yet again. Okay, cool. Hunter Biden. Okay, the guy belongs in jail. I'm apolitical in the sense that I hate both parties. I hate them all. Okay, I'm a moderate. I'm in the middle. I'm just an independent. Okay, and I independently bash whomever I like to bash, both sides, right? I'm not leaning one way. The guy should be in jail. What he did with Ukraine? Oh my God, come on. All right, anyways, misdemeanor tax charges, whatever. You know what? It took a long time for government at work, but finally they're getting this right, okay? Anyways, and that's not a political statement. That's reality. There are certain things that our country, certain things our country is really, 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 really bad at. Okay, there's a lot of things our country is really, really. This is not the country I grew up in. I mean, you know that I'm a boomer, right? But there's some things we get right from time to time, right? Anyways, noises detected in the hunt for the. Ooh. Please tell me. Okay, hopefully they'll find them. Russia says it's thwarted Ukrainian drone attacks. Well, whatever. Companies are hostage to the whims of TikTok. Yeah, TikTok is so powerful. It's just this, you can't put the genie back in the bag, in the bottle. You just can't. Vacant offices are piling up. Yeah, things are really, really, really bad in California. Things are going to get a lot worse too. Pisces home, how much? 250 million? Oh, okay, not me. Tesla downgraded to Barclays ahead of Q2 earnings. Mullen Automotive says it has sufficient capital. Okay, well, that's a big deal, right? Lilly and partner when FDA not to include children for diabetes drug. God bless. While in the hot seat at semi-annual testimony before Congress. This is a dog and pony show, okay? Do not forget, Powell is a political appointee. Powell is not an economist. He is a lawyer. Powell did whatever he could do to remain as Fed chair, okay? This is what's wrong, okay, with our FOMC. When you have a political hack in charge who's not qualified, right, to be the voice of a FOMC. Okay, anyways. Telesales might always think an IMS propaganda unit to Bain Capital. Okay, Toyota introduces next-gen minivans. Winnebago falls after RV motorhome sales blow. Wow, okay. So we're starting to see things about AOI, QURE, and VJet. Moving along. California selling a session will rest. Whoa. Well, yeah. Okay. If California catches, this is the same, it's, California catches a cold, right? The rest of us catch, pneumonia, vice versa. Things are really bad in California and they're going to get a lot worse. And that's why people are, you see, people are leaving California, right? It's really expensive lifestyle, et cetera. Yeah, but they're going to Texas. Guess what? That makes Texas is going to become more purple because of the people from California going to Texas. I love it. Normally there is a releasement of a statement, FYI, 30 minutes before. All right, let's see how it plays out. Tesla wants to be the fast charging king soon. So like I say, when I was in California, everywhere I saw it wasn't Tesla charging units. It was GE, just so you know. So we'll see. Won't kill the music. Buy this stuff. That's from the other day. All right, let's take a look here. This is Hong Kong. This is China, South China markets. Propaganda, but it's still good to see. European firms not benefiting from China's US dollar at 1.8 trillion Greater Bay Area. That's notable. Backs Argentina's Falklands claim over colonial thinking. All right, so let's talk. She's got some serious internal issues, right? We know, and I've talked about this many, many months ago, that the biggest population hurting in China right now happens to be the youth. That's up to 25 years old, the high unemployment rate, 20+%, right? Somewhere along the line, the rubber meets the road, okay? Now, you don't have to worry about the older folks because, well, but this is how these revolutions start, okay? Slowly, brick by brick by brick. It's not going to happen anytime soon, okay? But there has to be some discord that has to start happening to make Xi somewhat uncomfortable, right? Just saying. Lives will be lost, but it's something that has to happen, right? All right, let's talk. Okay, so yesterday was the first day we actually saw a couple million. This is equity. I keep saying this. We did see a couple $1 million. I mean, this is more than we've seen in like days, right? EFA rolling out to December. This is just July, so that's, barely, okay, a roll here, but you get the gist here, right? NVIDIA, right out to October, multiple prints, so that's, almost $6 million there, right? URI got a put sweep for I cannot recall a quarter and which was so focused on equity versus options. So what does that tell us? And the fact that, this is just common sense, the fact that there's not hedging going on tells us what's there to hedge, okay? If you've got equity and you're late to the party, okay, you can't really be hedging it because you don't have anything really to hedge, okay? It's literally this simple. So where is the focus? The focus is on these retail pieces that I keep showing you, like Hive, Hut, these sort of things that they keep going after, right? That's printing. So these are like lemmings. They buy, and then they sell. So this is where you're getting those momentum type follow through as opposed to sloppy choppy and some of the other stuff. These big mega caps, you can't do that with. Okay, now Tesla is a meme now, right? You understand that. So you see all this volume going through in Tesla, same thing with NVIDIA, right? These are memes, right? And that's why you get Tesla 93 orders, right? On the sweep, this is just the sweep side. This isn't the retail side, right? A lot of these basically don't get closed, don't become open interest. That's why I say, look at the volume, I understand, okay? But the vast majority doesn't roll over to open interest. It's just volume day trading going on, okay? And that's what you have to understand. So Tesla, NVIDIA. Tesla still is the darling, and I maintain it's going a lot higher still. Apple had some put sweeps. These are hedges that came in, SPY, but this is nothing. I mean, literally nothing. I mean, all right, so PayPal. For PayPal, this is a lot of money because you literally don't see anything going through on this one. All right, insider buys. What do we got? What do we got? Not really much. All right, so this has been again an accumulation of since January the whole year. I mean, seriously, this just got getting reported. I mean, what am I going to tell you? Okay, $7,000. Whoops. Okay, I just there's nothing to get excited here. These were all insider sales. Okay, and you can see here these were not tied to options, right? But these were. This is a buy though, tied to options. Okay. But all the selling, trimming, this is what you would expect with quarter end, right? All right, what do we got? Okay, so this is really interesting. Friends, twinsies at Raymond James, Patrick, 77% stud, maintains an outperform of FedEx and has a higher price target. God bless. Adobe, BMO, 76%. See, this is what I'm talking about. If you're looking at an analyst, you got to know what their track record is. Now, if it's 1%, why the hell are you following them? And yet the market does. Even 37%. Okay, I'm just saying, why? When you can get 70 plus, 65, almost, these are studs. Okay, and studettes. Petrobras continues, okay, upgrade from neutral to buy, but no price. We long it from under 10 on Petrobras. Okay, times they are changing. I have a lot of calls on this and I haven't exited them. Okay, and I have equity on it and I haven't exited that. I've trimmed it back. I have to. Seriously, friends, right? When you're up 46% on Petrobras, how can you? I trimmed it back. Anyways, Bumble, interesting. Wolf, Deepak, downgrade to outperform to peer perform. But no, I mean, this one was nothing, no price change on match, but Peloton, nice little downgrade there, underperformed 27%. That's what I'm talking about. If you're going to do it, walk the walk, walk the talk. Okay, and here we have that Spotify got an upgrade, right? Peer perform to outperform. Okay. Here we go. This is what it looks like. Adobe, Spotify, Petrobras. These are the ones that they're focusing in on in the headlines. And of course, 1%. National Bank Finance, whatever. Loop Capital, sorry, can't do. Okay, KeyBank, AGO, not bad, but no price change, right? Where? Right. Let's see the downgrades. Here we go. Skin Match, Peloton, right? But as you can see, you're downgrading, but seriously, okay. Initiations. TD, oh God, I haven't seen that name in a long time. Tidewater, okay. It's a nice juicy upgrade initiation too. 45, 63% off. Take a peek at that one. That one I might do. CALB, well, the juicy. Okay. What do we got? Visa's now entering strong seasonality. Becton Dixon still there, Waste Management still there. Okay. See if we got anybody new here. Nope. Sentiment. Okay, here we go. The breadth measure. Now, this is really fascinating. How can the breadth measure be at all? This is the AD, advanced decline line. Okay, be at all-time highs when we know a large percentage of the components of S&P are there. Okay. This is why I continue to say these indices are broken. They're misrepresentational of what's really going on. Until something happens with that in the re-weightings and stuff like that, it's misrepresentational of what's really going on. Okay, and yet S&P is the bellwether we use. It's misrepresentational of what's going on. All right, so what happens to S&P after cumulative advanced decline line hits its 52-week high? The vast majority of the move going back to 1935, okay, if you look at this, except for 1935, right? Some of these 1971, okay? Here's 1995, right? 2016. If you look at it as an aggregate, right? There's kind of math going on, right? This is a cumulative event that hits a 3-year high. This is a little bit same, right? It's statistically bullish, but there's no wow factor there, right? Okay. Well, at least here we're getting 10.2% 1 year, but it's bullish. I mean, I'm not denying it, but it's still broken. Okay, more large cap industrial stocks are breaking out to a 1 year high. Well, a lot of these were taken to the woodshed toward feather. Right? What does it mean? 17%. 1 year out. I really, look, I am in, I'm in the industrial ETF. Okay. All right. This should only make sense to you guys as to why this would be. I'm taking from Peter to give to Paul. I'm peeling off. I want to go into stuff that was taken to the woodshed and is starting to rally. And this is what we see every single day. We have these multi-week / monthly / yearly breakouts happening in not targeted tech, which I think is incredibly bullish. And you know that. Okay, I think it's incredibly bullish. Will that be ITF? It really is. Okay. And I think that's important. Okay. Just so you know, it's my story and I'm sticking to it. Okay. All right. So here's the breath. This is what it looks like. Rosy, rosy, rosy. Well, that got reset yesterday. Energy is green. XLU is green, right? So it reset itself again, right? And this is what it looks like. Okay, in terms of, this is the problem. Here you go. So this is what it looks like. It reset itself right on the downside. This is bullish, right? So this is what we want to see. What did I say? All it'll take is one down day to reset everything. And that's exactly what we got going on. All right, let's have some fun. Okay. Yield curve steepening today. Yeah. Rates up across the board in Europe, UK, and in down Asia Pacific. Things are really not going well in Asia Pacific, but they're going to be the one that leads us out of this morass, right? So here's the illustrious 2.5 breaking down. This is a big deal, friends. I mean, this goes back to 1989. I don't have earlier data, but this is a big deal. Okay. And this should make sense to everybody, right? Because of the Fed funds, right? Because of front end of the curve. Right? So here's the 210. Knock, knock, knocking on, coming back down, round tripper, as they say. Right? I don't think, well, I shouldn't say that, but I don't think we break this low, but that's questionable. So here's the 530, barely hanging in there, right? Here's the Chinese. They got problems. I mean, you know the drill on that one. And here's the German rates, right? This is the quarterly, but it looks like we're going to break out on the upside. Rates are still relatively low comparatively speaking, right? So, see what the dollar's up to. Looks like it's going to hold here, friends. So, right? Chinese yuan still weakening, round tripper, as they say. They have to do this, but it's really detrimental for their foreign direct investments. They have to go full bore quantitative easing, but I don't know. We'll see. All right, so Ethereum. So what I've been doing is, for those of you in the room, I've been doing like the smaller ones right now, like BITF, Hive, HUT. So it's trickling down to these lower tier ones. So I've got options on these. I've got some MSTO equity. I had some, but to me, the bang for the buck right now, I feel is like in these smaller little ones. some smaller tier ones and stuff. So that's how I've been playing it right now, this rally. Right. So commodities. Red, 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 some green, green, right, wheat, corn, right, drought equals higher agricultural prices. So basically it looks like it's 70% red, 30% green. OJ is up. Lumber is not working because they haven't fixed it. I don't know why they haven't done this. I don't know. Well, they are, but they're not updating it. It's the contracts in these zones. PBA, this is the agricultural ETF. I'm in. Come on, double top here. I'll be honest with you. Let's see what that is on the Fib. Not quite at the 78.6. You know the drill on the 78.6, right? Here's DBC. So this includes industrial metals, etc. I went long it down here. The risk reward was well defined for me. We'll see. You know, I'm in copper, nickel, etc. The metals and stuff like that. Isn't that a guess? Okay, hard rebuff. So we're now ready to break out. So what do I want to say? I want to see it continue making higher lows. That's what I want to see. I'm still in my boil. In my boil KOLD spread, I have a ratio right now of 3 to 1. But the reason why it's 3 to 1 is it's very small position. Okay, I mean, it's literally this is the smallest I've been on boil in KOLD in like a long time because we're nowhere, right? What am I going to do? And I always like to have something on, so I trimmed it way back to nothing as a percentage. I mean, this is less than 1% of my portfolio now in this trading account. Okay. USO, UNG, interesting setup. I don't know how this is going to play out, but it will be powerful once it does happen. I don't know if it's going to be big. Obviously, if this breaks down, that means that crude is breaking down. I still think we're range bound. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Right? Here's crude. Right, we're in the middle of the range. There is no setup for us right now. Okay, I still have my hedges on SCO. I trimmed it back a little bit. I still have my drip on. Okay, I haven't trimmed that back a little bit, but it's 1.5% when I'm like, and it's leveraged, right? So I'm 1.5% with that, so that probably equals more like 3%, and my portfolio is probably around 6% right now. Just so you know. And the heaviest ones, obviously, I told you we're going to be PXD on an exposure basis. Okay, and that is my largest exposure right now. I do have some need, but no, it's nowhere near the size of PXD. Okay, I'm just biding my time right now. Okay. All right, what do we got? What do we got? No, I don't want that. Let's take a look at OIH. All right. So we got a double bottom that held right here, right? Triple bottom, actually quadruple, whatever. You can see all the pivot points. The interesting part about that is right here, inability to break above it. So we're kind of range bound. So this is going to be a powerful move one way or the other. My inclination is to the upside, but you know, I don't know much right now. Here's gold against crude. Gold is slowly weakening, right? I have my hedges on. I have to have my hedges on. You know the drill. It broke the support. I can't do anything with it until it reclaims that support. So I'm fully hedged on with dust against gold. Okay, so this is kind of interesting. We are at a key pivot point right now. If this breaks, we're going to have a really big move down here. Okay, for those of you who are in gold. Okay, so I probably will add some more to my dust and then be overweight on dust as a share for everybody. Okay. I don't want that. All right, let's take a look at the stocks. Down, 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 down. Red, 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 red. Nikkei is up. Hang Seng China down. Nifty 50 up. Okay. DAX got rebuffed. It's now below, failure to break out. Let's see, I think we're just going to continue to consolidate here, but we have to keep an eye on that. Right. FTSE, you know the drill here. Right. This is not a good look, friends. Just not a good look. Okay. Really struggling. Failure to reclaim this pivot point right here, the former breakout. Not a good look. Baz, got to keep an eye on this one. Hard rebuff here. Okay, notable. Be aware of that. EFA small caps outside the US. Once again, it will fail to break out, but we're still within the range on the bottom quadrant of that range. Keep an eye on that one also, obviously. So here's EFA against IWM. This is really interesting. This is a hard bounce off of this pivot, reclaiming this pivot. Okay, so let's keep an eye on that. Not a good look in the sense that if it reclaims, this is a monthly chart, don't forget, reclaims this extension. That means that our IWM is getting softer and softer. This is China, small caps, looking really still ugly, friends. All right, so let's do it. Tesla. You know the drill. Okay, I see it going a lot higher. Whatever. Okay. This is not. Analysts get this one so wrong so often. This is in my head. This looks exactly like the decline, and it looks to me, it feels to me like a round tripper. I know. But let me show you something. All right, so here's Tesla against XPEV. This is a no-brainer, okay? You would think it would be higher, but the EV names are all getting some sort of support, right? So here's Tesla against Lee, right? So Lee obviously has been strong, right? Because you can see right here, the ratio spread's not really there. So here's Tesla against NIO, okay? So NIO has been outperforming, okay? I'm sorry, Tesla has been outperforming NIO, but not Lee, right? So we'll see how this plays down. In order for these tertiary EV names to really get some sort of momentum, they really do have to start breaking out, and Tesla has to start breaking down. I don't see that happening anytime. So here's Tesla against Toyota Motor, right? So you can see here that Tesla, this is still within the multi-year quadrant consolidation pattern. It's grinding higher. I mean, there's nothing here right now. The trade was missed down below, but I mean, clearly I trade Tesla, I don't trade Toyota, right? But anyways, this will be notable multi-year if we break out one way. I think we do. All right, so here's Tesla against Fisker breaking out. So some of these make sense, right, in terms of the breakout. Here's Tesla against Rivian breaking out. Okay, this is a multi-year, well, yearly breakout. I mean, I can't get sexy about this one. Okay, here's Tesla against Lucid. Well, you can see what's going on here, right? You do your fibs and you get your things. This is not one that I trade, obviously. Okay, Tesla against Ford. All right, Tesla, grind. This should be way higher against Ford, but you know, there's kicking and screaming right with Ford right now, just because of the bounce we had already. Here's Tesla against GM, almost breaking out. All right, Tesla against the Qs. Slowly breaking out here. And then basically, if this breaks out and holds, that's a 53% and gets the upper quadrant here. All
right, Beth, ready to pop on whenever here. Alrighty, guys, morning. What's going on? Let me just pop up the screen share here. We'll get right into it. Give me one sec. There we go. So if you guys are new to chat, have we done so? Make sure to click on that Discord link that's emailed to you. Pop in chat, look something a little bit like this. First area to go to when you guys do come in, click on that disclaimer section, give it a read, as well as go to the new to chat information section and scroll to the very, very top. Top of the section, you see a link to the disclaimer as well as this bolded risk reward section. Super important to understand both in regards to risk reward, guys. Most important ratio in trading, so definitely worth going through it, checking it out. If you go through the section, you got videos explaining how risk reward works, risk reward calculator you can use, download, as well as this risk reward profiles you can use to match your account, as well as your risk reward threshold, which makes the process a lot quicker when calculating risk reward on the go. Continue to scroll down. We have the Summary of how this chat works, breaks all these channels work on the left-hand side, so you can probably navigate the chat throughout the day. Important to know where to be looking. Continue to scroll down. How to read alerts on the options and equity side, breaking down how to read alerts from both sides. Pretty straightforward in that regard. Below this, options rules that we like to use Monday to Thursday in regards to controlling risk, scaling in, scaling out, trading different price contracts, etc., etc. SPX rules below that, what we use to calculate the SPX, or sorry, what we use when we're trading SPX every single day for the SPX ideas. Below this, any of the small account less than 10K, breaking down if you do have a smaller account less than 10K. There's some rules, information, discipline you can put in place. You can better manage your account, in our opinion. And lastly, how to pick ideas from an options directory perspective. Below that, breaking down how to pick ideas, overlay your own criteria on top of the ideas, so we're left with only things that do make sense. High conviction area, we do post, or I do post the credit spreads every single day for the SPX. So, you know, nice income generation ideas that have a high hit rate in there. All right, let's take a look what we got going on today, though. So a couple different things, guys. If you're new to chat, next area you would want to go, pre-market tickers on watch. You can see what we're looking at today. Tesla, Adobe, MSTRXS, QURE, and PCT. So Tesla gapping up slightly in continuation. Adobe rises as BMO upgrades to outperform on AI push. MSTR gapping up in sympathy with Bitcoin. Excess exact science shares pop on positive Cologuard trial results. QURE gapping down, announces update on US phase 1.5 clinical trial of AMT 130 gene therapy for the treatment of Huntington's disease. And then PCT, PureCycle's Iroton plant produces first pellets, and it's gapping up on that. Let's take a look at these names from a technical standpoint. Intraday, first two we're looking at today, guys, going to be that Tesla and going to be that Adobe. So let's have a gander at that. All right, Tesla. So Tesla, guys, slight gap up. Obviously, you know, it's kind of trying to pull back a little bit at the moment, but the chart still looks good. 273.41 pivot level holds. 280.71, 285.57. Above that, we got room towards 292.64. Unable to hold 266.12, 256.83 downside. Leaning bullish neutral. I want to see if this pivot point can hold. Yesterday, a great relative strength in the name. I'm thinking we can see further continuation to the upside today. But of course, we'll have to be patient on the open and see just how well it holds up. But overall, I think it does look pretty good for that continuation push, as long as that pivot stays intact. Let's take a look at Adobe. So leaning bullish neutral there. Adobe. Probably don't need to go that high, but let's just pop this up and take a look. Way too high, actually. All right, Adobe, I'd give this level 496.54 as the pivot. This level is able to hold 507 to 518.42, unable to hold. You're looking at 479.81 to 470.65 on the downside. Overall, I'd be leaning bullish neutral, looking for a continuation push higher. Pretty much at a head and shoulders kind of range here. Needs to break above it for continuation. I do like the daily chart for a push back up. It's just a matter of getting above those levels for continuation. So that's Tesla, that's Adobe. Let's take a look at the next two. So next two, guys, we're going to be looking at MSTR and excess. A lot of lower resistance points above here. All right, let's take a look at this thing intraday. Uh, 321.53 pivot, level holds 327.85, 334.29. Unable to hold 313.91 to 307.26 on the downside, leaning bullish, looking for a continuation push to the upside today. I think this does look pretty good for continuation. So that's MSTR. Like the look. Let's take a look at the next one, excess. Yes, success. A little bit of a gap up there, 149. Okay. Pretty much back towards where it came from. Okay. So pivot to the upside today would be around 179, level holds to 104.40, 108.93, unable to hold 96.57 to 91.39. I'm going to be leaning more on the bullish neutral side if that pivot point's able to stay intact today. 100, I think, is going to be around 100. It's going to be pretty much a line in the sand. So we'll use that pivot as a strong line in the sand in terms of direction, which we typically do. But I think just because there's also that kind of mental resistance there or support there, then I should say mental pivot there, then it's going to be that much stronger. QURE and then PCT. Let's have a look at those. Got them down. QURE. Okay. Okay, pivot to the downside today, 1573, unable to hold. We got room towards the 1415 to 1267. Below that, of course, 1179, which would be the pre-market lows. Able to hold 1672 to 1808 on the upside. Overall, going to be leaning bearish, neutral. Looking for continuation lower if that pivot point is unable to hold or unable to reclaim it. I am going to be leaning bearish more mainly though. Looking for pretty much a bounce back to it. Rejection pullback. All right, PCT. I'm going to keep it on the daily chart. It's easier to see it. So 916 pivot, level holds 1008, 1096, unable to hold. We look for a pullback on PCT into the 860 to 786 on the downside. Overall, going to be leaning on the bullish neutral side today, looking for a continuation grind higher. Let's say look at the spine of the fang. All right. So spine of the fang here. So market slight pullback. It did get back below short-term EMA support. There's a little bit of a head and shoulders kind of here on the hourly as well. Pivot 438.04 today. This level is able to hold 441.44, 444.82. Unable to hold. We're looking for a pullback towards 434.18, 431.29 or 39. Sorry, I should say on the downside. Going to be leaning on the bearish neutral side today, looking for a little bit of a pullback into this last day low area. Then I think we can curl back up. I think this is going to be consolidative today. Same. I think the rest of the week's pretty much going to be a bull flag kind of forming on the daily chart. So, and that requires a little bit of a pullback and consolidation. And that's what it looks like still on the market. So that's kind of the price action is what I'm thinking about today. That's what we're going to get. So leaning bearish neutral there. Apple 184.49 pivot levels unable to hold. 183.35, 182.15. able to hold 186.15 on the upside. Same thing, going to be leaning a little bit on the bearish neutral side, looking for a slight pullback and then a curl back up. I expect the ranges to hold, but it's got room towards the bottom end of the range at the moment. So that's my rationale and idea right there so far. Amazon actually looks okay. 125.32 pivot level holds 127.15 to 128.69 or so 89. Unable to hold, we look for a pullback towards 122.80, leaning bullish neutral here, actually looking for a little bit of a push higher. If you like the look, let's take a look at Netflix. $429.25 pivot levels able to hold 441.30, 448.67. Unable to hold 416.57 downside. Going to be leaning bearish on Netflix if that pivot's unable to hold. Let's take a look at Meta. That head and shoulders. We don't mind this chart. Pivot to the upside today, going to be 283.89, levels able to hold 288.08, unable to hold 280.68 to 76.51, leaning bullish neutral here. I'm looking for a little bit of a push higher if that pivot point's able to stay intact. That's Meta. Let's take a look at Google. Google 122.36 pivot, able to hold 124.24, 125.41, unable to hold 120.02 to 117.83 downside. Going to be leaning bearish on Google. It looks heavy. Looks like it wants to pull back more. So that's what I'll be looking for today, in my opinion, at least. All right. Quickly take a look at the VIX Qs and IWM. So VIX, as you guys know, or if you don't know, I just use this for direction on the market for the most part. So I don't necessarily lean in a certain way. I just like to use this for direction on the market. And I'll be using the 1388 level as a pivot today. This level is able to hold 1422, 1467. I'm able to hold 1344. Like I said, not leaning any particular direction here. There's VIX. Let's take a look at the Qs. $365.46 pivot, unable to hold. We got room towards 362.59 to 358.64. Able to hold 369.36, 372.93 on the upside. Overall, going to be leading on the bearish neutral side today if the pivot's unable to hold, just like the SPY. And then last but not least, SPX. $43.96 pivot to the upside today. Level holds 44.26, 44.48. Unable to hold. Room towards 43.60 to 43.35 33 on the downside. Overall on SPX, going to be leaning on the bearish neutral side as well, just like the SPY and the Qs. All right, so that's the SPY and the FANG. Individual names that we're looking at today. Going to go ahead and pass it over to South Beach, guys, while I type up the pre-market action plan. I will talk to you shortly. South Beach, if you're ready, she's all yours for now, my friend.
Morning, guys. Sorry. Okay. Let's look at the technicals quickly. There's going to be no change, but let's just take a gander. So the weekly on the S&P has, support everywhere. There's no, it's the S&P is above all support areas. Good there on the weekly and the daily. And the Qs are going to be exactly the same. The fact that they've come in a little bit is kind of sort of irrelevant. And to tell you the truth, guys, in a bullish market, which we're in, my favorite setup is a down opening. I mean, ask any trader. That's what they like. You know what I mean? You get a down opening and hopefully the buyers come in. We'll see. But we have a down opening. We had one yesterday. We found stuff to do yesterday, and, I'd imagine the same thing happens today. All right, looking at the bond market, we have Fed's Powell chirping this morning. He's in front of Congress, today and tomorrow. I think today is the House and tomorrow's the Senate. These politicians get a chance to get some face time. They make, they direct questions basically to their constituency, and it's basically a complete waste of time. But anyway, he's speaking. We'll get to that in a minute. Let's look at how things set up before we talk about him. 374 in the 10-year, which is up 1.7. The 2 years about the same. And the spread, we're up to 97, guys, which is the high end of, I don't know how long, a long time, okay, of the inversion. Short rates, 1 year, 527, 6 month, 542. So very attractive yields out there. And this guy wants to raise them more. And he raises the short end of the curve. He doesn't have any effect. Well, he has an effect, but he doesn't have direct effect on the long end of the curve. Okay. Inflation numbers came out in London this morning, and they were negative or more inflationary than expectations. And their bond market, we'll talk about it in a minute, but their bond market is up about 10 bips everywhere. So the 10 years up 442, up 10, and the 2 years basically even up more, 0.12, over 506 now, 519 on their 1 year. So they're have a bit of an inflation situation. Rates in Germany are pretty much unchanged, and that's basically, so the Eurozone is quiet, Britain's up, and ours is up a little bit. Okay, looking at commodities, we have oil dead flat. Okay, no movement there. Natural gas unchanged. Gold down a little bit. They say gold buying is slowing down in China, for whatever that's worth. I think nothing, but that's that. I think it's a reflection on the dollar more than anything else. Copper's in a trading range, as are all the agricultural commodities. Lumber had a little bit of a pop on a housing starts number. But by and large, commodities are trading in a range, and I don't think there's not much to do with that right now. The dollar's mixed against North America, up against the yen, up against the Chinese currency. We're pushing 719 now. The euro 109 and 127 are pretty much unchanged. Crypto wise, we got another big pop there, 3% in Bitcoin, 2% in Ethereum. Solana's up almost 2% there. This is a sea change, guys, because the big guys are trying to get into this field. I think it gives anyone who wants to invest a lot more comfort. And I think these things are kind of sort of where EV is, in a really good place with things happening and investors warming up to both spaces. So I think this is significant, and we'll see if it continues. Where I'm in the names and in both groups, and we'll see how it works out. But let's look at the foreign markets. We have the FTSE down 0.3, DAX down 0.2, so very quiet over there. The Nikkei is up 0.5%, China down 2%, Hong Kong down 2%. Okay, and Taiwan is unchanged. Okay, there's your wrap up. All right, so we have Powell speaking today. Now, this guy can't be happy with the market being so strong, right? Because what it has a wealth effect, right? So all this money comes into the market and people feel like, wealthier than they did when the stocks were a lot lower, and they spend more money. That's human nature, right? So he's trying to jawbone it down. So let's see what he's saying today. That got the futures, which were basically unchanged, down to go down 13. All right, so effectively, the big line is Fed's Powell says lowering inflation back to 2% has a long way to go. Process of getting inflation prepared testimony. Let's see, monetary effects of monetary policy take time. Yada yada yada. It's all a bunch of bullshit. It's the one liner that got the market down. Lowering inflation to 2% has a long way to go. All right, so that's what he's gonna try to drop on the market a little lower. He wants to, this talk about raising rates 2 more times or whatever. Even if he does, guys, we're 90% of the way there. So the rate situation is basically, I think, in the market, and we'll see what happens from here. My guess is something negative happens eventually with these rates that he keeps raising, because this does take time. But we'll get to that either later today or tomorrow. I'll talk about Ed Hyman, which I've mentioned to you. I don't know if any of you guys watched him on TV. I said, you got to watch this guy because he's never wrong, or rarely wrong. And we'll go over it later. Anyway, so what else we have? Banks and Fed. We have, not only do we have Powell speaking, but we have 4 other guys speaking. So talk about overkill. We're going to be inundated with these schmucks all day long. But you know what they're going to say, okay? He set the table. Goldsby is speaking too. He's the outlier in the group, right? He's a lot more dovish than any of these guys on rates. Anyway, so we have banks and Fed, 4 of those guys speaking. We have Powell speaking today. You get a taste for what his tone is going to be. And he'll be speaking tomorrow, probably. It's generally a reiteration. Same opening statement. It's important. So yeah, Ed Hyman's the guy, guys, and I've said it to you gazillions of times. So shame on you if you didn't watch him, but whatever. It's your money, your life. China, we'll talk about in a second. Russia as well. Crypto. Well, look. Things are turning really nicely for crypto, and I think this is somewhat of a runway. Okay, Mr. Market yesterday. So Bitcoin was a group that really is what I gravitated towards. I had some drugs as well that did okay. Home builders were strong. HMOs had a really good day, first in a while. Bitcoin was strong, and on the negative side, we had consumer non-durables, which saw a lot of selling very late in the day. Solar was a little weak. Machinery was weak, REITs were weak, big oil and gas was weak. Okay, so that was the synopsis of yesterday. And what's working? Find a group that's getting hot, like Bitcoin or EV, and play that string on the instrument as long as you can, as long as they hold up. All right, and some of these individual names are working nicely, and I think you just got to watch the tape. I mean, you sit here, and what was the thing on Friday? I had some little stock that got, acted well all day, and then you got some takeover BS in it, and you make some decent money, so just watch what's going on, and you can make a lot of money. That's it. That's what's working. So what else is going on today? You see Powell speaking. That's the big thing. They're saying that there's they're calling it a collapse in used car prices. I think they're overdoing it, but they think that could drive down inflation to below the Fed target. I think that's high hopes. UK inflation came in at 7.1% in May, up from 6.8% in April, and their annual inflation came in 8.7 versus expectations of 8.4, and that's the reason for the bond market going up, yields going up in in Britain this morning. Okay, so that's pretty negative news for these guys. Their inflation seems to be the worst of any of the major countries that I could find, but whatever. Anyway, Katie Stockton is bullish. Okay, she's been kind of on the fence to bearish for a bit, and she's got a 45-10 target on the S&P, which is up 3%, which I don't think is worth playing unless you're trading. So that's that. Dubai made a preliminary takeover approach to a German chemical giant, Covestro. So that's Dubai. You see these Middle Eastern countries kind of taking their money and trying to, spread out their risk amongst different asset classes. So that could keep prices inflated if these guys are out there with a big wad of cash trying to spend it. Okay, so we've had this, what's his face, the Secretary of State in China for the last couple of days, right? And he tried to mend fences and whatnot, Blinken. And then our esteemed president comes out last night and calls Xi a dictator. So China's up in arms. I mean, I don't understand. Is that the dumbest thing you ever heard? The guy's trying to mend fences. He's trying to increase communications, and he goes out there and bashing him. I would doubt very highly that that was in his notes, that anybody who's advising the president would tell him to say something so freaking stupid. But he did. And that's why I think he's too old for this job, guys. I don't think he has his shit together. And I'm sorry to say that, because we deserve better. And it's no reflection on him as a president. It's just like, I think he's out to lunch. And I have nothing against him as the job he's doing or anything like that. India's prime minister is in the US this week, meeting with business leaders. I think he was with the president yesterday. Apple 190 will be a $3 trillion valuation, guys, which is pretty remarkable. Wisdom Tree filed for a Bitcoin spot ETF, just like BlackRock did yesterday. So we're getting, kind of the normal cast of characters that, are involved in our capital markets involved in Bitcoin, which is only good for this thing. So I think it has legs. Okay. More Russian oil going to China than ever before, 2.2 million barrels a day. That's up 15% from a year ago. Ukraine pleading for US F-16s to fight Russian jets. Basically, they're using old Russian jets from the 1980s that have no shot against these guys. They're asking for money. Basically, EU people are meeting this week, deciding what to give them. I think they said another 50 billion. We're giving them, London is giving them like 3 billion. We're giving them more money. And then you got the rebuilding process, which is going to cost hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars. And guys, think about this, because when we have a hurricane, and let's say a Charleston, I'm picking that town for no good reason. You see wood prices go up, you see steel prices go up and whatnot. Can you imagine what prices are going to do on commodities when you have to build a complete country? So when this thing is over, I would imagine that commodity prices could really take off. And that's something to think about, okay? To build a country is going to take years with incredible demand, okay, on commodities. Russia claims they shot down 3 drones that were heading towards Moscow. I would bet the ranch that they made that up. Tom Lee, who's looking for 4750 on the Dow, which is what, up about 300 points, which is what, like 7 or 8%, when you could buy bonds at 5.5%. That's what he's looking for, and that's bullish. To me, I would rather be in the bond market, be honest, after this move. If you miss the move, I wouldn't chase it over here. I would buy bonds. Three things that he likes: Bitcoin, China, and S&P. Okay, the Barclays, asset manager, the girl that basically, is there, Tom Lee. She's seeing 4,600 on the S&P. Another, 200 points, big deal, right? There's a House GOP bill to unwind, to go after ESG, making funds responsible for maximizing returns as opposed to investing in ESG. I don't know what they're trying to do there. Target is trying to get overnight delivery to compete better with Amazon and Walmart. Math scores for 13-year-olds are the worst in decades. They're blaming it on the pandemic. I think that's probably fair. A Canadian aircraft detected that noise from that submarine. And Hunter Biden. Why is it that all presidents you always get guys that are going to jail or this or that? Why is it always like that? Okay, if it's not Nixon, it's Trump. If it's not Trump, it's Biden. Why are they always in trouble with the law? This guy didn't pay taxes and he got a slap on the wrist. If you didn't pay taxes, my friends, they take your house away and they throw you in freaking jail. Okay, individual stocks. We got PDCO was positive. They had earnings. We have the Bitcoin strength we talked about. Spotify was upgraded. EXAS is doing an FDA submission of a new test for colorectal cancer. AHI had some positive data as well. SCYX had positive data. Blue got partial priority review by the FDA. Triple D wants to combine with SSYX, so they're coming back for that. Tesla was downgraded, but it wasn't a hard downgrade, guys. From Barclays, Skin was downgraded by Stifel. Peloton was downgraded by Wolf. Triple M, Wall Street Journal says they might have to cut their dividend because of these big lawsuits and cash flow. Intel sold the division to Bain for $4.3 billion. I will bet anybody in this room that Bain doubles their money within 2 years. Okay. When you buy from the moron, you make a lot of money. Intel been run by morons for a really long time. Bain is going to crush it on this trade. QURE had negative data for their Huntington's disease. Okay. Research, Uber targets 65 at OPCO, Tidewater targets 75 at BTIG, FedEx, everybody seems to like FedEx this morning. Petrobras was upgraded by Goldman. That's a stock that's been trading in the same range since God was a little boy. Adobe was upgraded by BMO at 570 target. And that is about 2 syndicate deals by, third-rate companies, Roth and somebody else, William Beth or whoever they are. And that's really it. Okay. This guy's going to try to keep the market down today by jawboning it down. We'll see if it holds. If it holds, they'll probably try to take it back on the upside. We'll see. Anyway, that's my thinking on it. And I'm going to pass it to our man, Spartan. And thanks, guys. All yours, my man.
All right. Thanks, South Beach guys. Morning. What's up? What's going on? Let me just, there we go. Okay, there it is. So if you guys are new to chat and have already done so, make sure to click on the Discord link that's emailed. So you're going to pop in chat. Look something a little bit like this. First area to go to when you guys do come in, click on this disclaimer section, give it a read, as well as go to the new to chat information section at the top and scroll to the very, very top of this area. Top of this area, you got a link to the disclaimer as well as this boulder risk reward section. Super important to understand both in regards to risk reward, guys. Most important ratio in trading, so definitely worth checking out there. So click on it, give it a read. Continue to scroll down in that new to chat information section. You have summary of how this chat works, breaks down all these channels work on the left-hand side, so you can properly navigate the chat through the day. That is important, so you know where to be looking. Continue to scroll down. We have how to read alerts on the options and equity side, breaking down how to read alerts on both sides. Pretty straightforward in that regard. Continue to scroll down. We have the options rules that are used Monday to Thursday in regards to controlling risks, scaling in, scaling out, trading different price contracts, etc., etc. Below that, the SPX rules that we use every single day for the SPX ideas. Continue to scroll down. We have any of the small account, less than 10K, breaking down if you do a smaller account, less than 10K. Here's some rules, information, discipline you could put in place. You have a better chance of growing that smaller account, in my opinion. And lastly, how to pick ideas from an options or equity perspective by overlaying your own criteria on top of the ideas. So you're left with only things that do make sense for you and your account, which, you know, I think everyone should be doing no matter what. And then a high conviction small account trades posted in that area, which are pretty much just credit spreads every single day, which have been, you know, nice for generating income. Let's take a look at what we got going on today. If you guys are watching the YouTube stream, you can simply just pause it and then read the action plan there. You can see all the charts that are posted. Okay, right there, right there. Let's kind of scroll back up to here. So what do we got going on today, guys? So a couple things. Tesla, Adobe, MSTR, XS, QURE, PCT. Tesla gapping up slightly in continuation. Despite those downgrades, it was up a little bit. I think it might be back down. Let's just look. Yeah, it's kind of right above the line, so it's still up. Adobe rises as BMO upgrades to outperform on AI push. MSTR gapping up specifically Bitcoin XS. Exact Sciences shares popping positive Cologuard trial results. QRE announces update on its phase 1B clinical trial, gapping down on that. And then PCT, Pure Cycle Ironton plant, produces first pellets. Let's take a look at these names from a technical standpoint intraday. So first two we're looking at today, guys, going to be that Tesla and Adobe. So let's have a look at those. So Tesla, guys, pivot to the upside today. 273.41 level holds, 280.71, 285.57. Unable to hold 266.12, 256.83 on the downside. Going to be leading bullish neutral, looking for a continuation push higher today if that pivot point's able to hold. Adobe pivot is going to be the 496.54 level holds, 507.07, 518.42. Unable to hold 479.81 to 470.65 on the downside. Leaning bullish neutral there if that pivot point is able to hold. Let's take a look at MSTR and XS. MSTR pivot 321.53 level holds, 327.85, 334.29. Unable to hold 313.91 to 307.26 on the downside, leading bullish neutral there. XS pivot upside today is going to be the 179 level holds, 104.40 to 108.93. Unable to hold 96.57, 91.39 downside, leading bullish on that name, looking for a continuation push to the upside today. Let's take a look at the QURE and PCT. QURE 1573 pivot to the downside levels, unable to hold 1415, 1267, able to hold 1672, 1808 on the upside. Going to be leading on the bearish neutral side today if that pivot point is unable to hold, which it looks like at the moment it is unable to hold. PCT pivot to the upside today, and let me just pop up the daily chart on this one. 1916 level holds, 1008, 1096, unable to hold 860 to 786 on the downside, leading bullish neutral if that pivot point's able to hold as well. Let's take a look at the SPY and the FANG. So SPY, guys, pivot is going to be, I'm going to type this out as I typically do. So SPY 438.04 pivot. Probably downside today. This level is unable to hold. Lower into the 434.18 support. Breaks, we see the 431.29 tested, pivot holds from higher into the 441.44 resistance breaks. We see the 444.82 tested. So leaning bearish, out gate, and looking for curl. So like I said, I want to see it basically kind of get to the bottom end of the range quickly out the gate here, and then I think we get a little bit of bounce. We stay range bound. So we'll see what happens in that regard, but that's what my thinking is. Let's take a look at the rest of the FANG here. Apple pivot upside at 184.49 level holds, 186.15. I able to hold 183.35, 182.15 on the downside, leaning bullish neutral there, looking for a continuation push higher on that. Let's take a look at leaning bearish neutral on that one. Amazon pivot going to be the 125.32 level holds, 127.15 to 128.89. I'm able to hold 122.80, leaning on the bullish neutral side there, looking for a continuation push higher. Let's take a look at Netflix. Netflix pivot to the downside, 429.25 levels, unable to hold 416.57, able to hold 441.30, 448.67 upside, leading bearish neutral on that, and looking for continuation lower. Let's take a look at sec. Let's take a look at Meta. So Meta pivot downside 283.89, levels able to hold 288.08, unable to hold 280.68, 276.51. I'm actually leaning more on the bullish neutral side here. I think it looks like it could push higher. And then last but not least, on the Bang Google pivot is going to be 122.36, level holds 124.24, 125.41, unable to hold 120.02, 117.83 on the downside. I'm leaning bearish neutral on that name. Let's take a look at the VIX, Qs, and IWM. So VIX pivots to the downside, 1388, levels unable to hold 1344, able to hold 1422, 1467 on the upside. Not leaning any particular direction. Qs, 365.46, pivot to the downside, unable to hold 362.59, 358.64, able to hold 369.36 to 372.93 on the upside. I'm going to be leaning on the bearish neutral side today if that pivot's unable to hold. And last but not least, guys, the SPX. Uh, 43.96 pivot, level holds 44.26 to 44.48, unable to hold 43.60 to 43.33 on the downside, and leaning bearish neutral there if the pivot's unable to hold. So that's a SPY, that's a FANG. Those are the individual names that we're looking at today. We'll see what happens. Going forward should be interesting to see how the market holds up today. I'm thinking it does stay range bound, and we can actually get a little bit of a bounce after this morning's slight dip. And that should be probably the most tradable situation, I think, today. But well, we'll go from there. We'll watch Bitcoin names, and yeah, we should have some decent opportunity, in my opinion. Anywho, if you guys are watching the YouTube stream, thanks for popping in. We do this every single week. We'll see you next week, and we do have a free webinar coming up on Thursday. You can find the registration link on our Twitter, on our websites, basically on all of our socials.